Iguchi Pro Camber Beastie.
Here we are looking at the Bryan Iguchi Pro system camber. So, you know, it's just camber throughout most of the board with just a little lifted side right here to just make it a little more catch free. And I gotta say, this is the first thing that surprised me about this board. It's just how playful the flex is. It was really easy to butter and press.
This is like a brand new board too,
yeah,
so it's gonna get more playful.
I was expecting a really aggressive camber board, and instead we got this board that's like taper. I think it's taper directional, or it's like a twin, but with like a longer nose, something like that. Like,
I think slightly directional from what I've read.
yeah, and you know, the tail is tapered, I believe, by a few millimeters. The nose and tail are different shapes, you know. But I don't know if it's a centered stance or if it's a slightly setback stance. I think it's a centered stance with a slightly longer nose, so the setback on board is there, but not on side cut or effective edge. So anyways, I just couldn't get over how much fun and how
So much
playful
fun.
this was.
I could get over it.
You got over it.
I got under
You
it
walked
too.
away. Yeah, you crossed over it.
It's 69,
Turns on the dime.
backside,
Man, I just
rodeo,
really,
reverse cowgirl. I got all every direction.
I just
with this
really
board.
like this board. I could carve the rail turns with it. This lifted tech
Yeah.
doesn't seem to make it washy. Where a lot of
So
lifted
much
tech
grippier than
use,
I was expecting.
yeah,
So,
like
yeah,
remember that
agreed.
we were riding some lifted tech boards earlier, and they'd wash on a carvy turn. This didn't.
No.
It held its edge. I don't know what was going on there, but I like it.
Managed the chunder really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
yeah.
for the end of the day, I thought it was going to be a lot tougher, but it was fine. You could cut it real quick. It was quick edge to edge, absorbed the shock really well. It was fine.
Yeah. Compared to the other two boards I just took out, every time I hit chunder, I felt super uncomfortable. And I'm like, man, I'm not like on my A game. And with this board, boom, just
No
flying
problem.
through the chunder, had no problem, lots of pop.
You could ride
really
it switch really
light.
well
You
too.
can
I could ride it switch very well.
Yeah, you can see why Gooch rides this. Like,
Yeah.
You know, you can see a freestyle powder rider.
It really, you know, you would probably classify this as like a free ride board, but it's a lot more than that. It's like an all mountain board, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got a very diverse, kind of go anywhere feel.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Even
ride the
freeze.
pipe in this. I'd love to,
Yep.
you know, I wouldn't even be too afraid of hitting jibs. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal, but it's doable. I would say the only thing, I don't get why they have, you know, a system rocker and a system camber in the Iguchi model. I'd just love to see like this much early rise, and we'd have a perfect board.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need either.
It would be
You
enough.
just need this one, you know?
But I think the people like the rocker, that's why it's sticking around.
Listen, man, if you
lot
catch
of
me
people are
at like
going back
6
to
o'clock in the
camber.
morning, you'll catch at least that much early rise from me. You
Yeah?
don't need it from this board.
Okay, well, so here we go. Here's, you know, some
Yeah.
people. Here's me.
Yeah. Once again, I absolutely loved it. It definitely felt way more freestyle than what I was expecting. Not as aggressive as I was expecting, but I still took it as aggressive as I wanted it to. I was racing past the skiers in it, and while still like hooking and carving my turns. And you know, paired up with these everything, it was lightweight.
You wouldn't want
and
this. You
fun.
wouldn't want this with just a little bit of early rise for just better float and powder, and then only get this and not have to get this and the Iguchi rocker.
You know, I would love to see what they would do if they didn't early rise, because it could completely change the whole feel of the board. As far as what this board did right now, it's definitely not a quiver killer, but it was really,
Super fun.
really
Pretty close.
really fun.
Yeah.
Like really fun. I was
Very surprising.
yeah.
And oftentimes Arbor does 7 inserts, so even though they might have the stance centered, you can get back a little more for riding a twin. So
Yeah.
that's another positive. But all in all, this is a really fun board.
The Bryan Iguchi Pro Camber
System camber.
system camber, not to be confused with the Bryan's Gooch Pro system camera.
System rocker.
Rocker. This
System
is the
camera,
camber.
Which I didn't like more. I like both
The
of them quite a
Bryan's
lot.
Gooch
One last
Scooch.
thing
System Pro camera.
that I like to add to this.
See, I
is
like
a
the wide.
website.
I like the wide
You can
angle
go
lens camera better than the tele.
See Bryan
camera.
Coe's Gooch.
One last thing I would add to this is like I was surprised about when you go fast, it still does great.
Yeah.
for how soft it is.
Even though it's buttery and soft, it still holds its
Still did?
still
Okay.
holds speed
Stable.
pretty well.
Pretty good.
Even though it can get, it doesn't do that when it's going fast.
Yep.
So
Sure.
great board.